Hello and welcome to Billy Ho Sports. We're back. Breeders' Cup updates. The Contenders series continues. Today's going to be a special show. We're going to cover the top 10 rankings for the Breeders' Cup Classic according to the Longines Breeders' Cup voting process that started back in July. I believe it went on for about 13 weeks. Every week they vote just like an AP poll for college football or basketball or whatever. It's just a top 10 list. And we're going to go down the list and talk about each horse a little bit, and then maybe figure out if the order, we agree with the order, or maybe somebody got left out, things of that nature. So thank you for joining me today. First of all, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. Very, very, very much appreciate that. Also, if you just found Billy Ho Sports, search in Google or whatnot for the horse racing content, keep in mind, I also do daily fantasy sports, DFS, aka sports content for both PGA and NFL sports. So if you gamble on the ponies, more than likely you gamble on other sports. Gambling, sports betting, new in Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky, Louisville, right here, home course, Churchill Downs, all that kind of good stuff. So check me out. I usually give out some pretty good plays, strategies, and whatnot. Been doing it a while now. Anything you can do to support the channel, greatly appreciated. Tell a friend, share and share alike, all that good stuff. So today we're going to go over the top 10, see if we agree. Like I said, I also have profiles on virtually every one of these horses where I show past performances, the races. So if you're looking for race replays and not having to go look them all up, so you want to just see, hey, I want to check out Forte's past performances. Go check it out. Archangelo video came out today. Got all his races lined up for you. So at your convenience, free of charge, just ask you to support the channel. Anything else? BillyHoSports.com is slow and going, but I will be trying to get new content on there as soon as possible. So check that out. Peruse, I've already got stuff out there from the past summer stakes racing. And without further ado, let's get this thing started. All right, we are going to start with the number one horse. Archangelo finished the Blue Roses Farms' very own Archangelo, who previously triumphed in the Belmont Stakes and Travers Stakes back-to-back. Has clinched the number one spot, like I said, in the final poll of the rankings. The rankings provide that weekly look at the top 10 horses, like we said. November 4th, Santa Anita Park, Arcadia, California. Be there or be square. All right, Archangelo, trained by Jenna Antonucci, is a 3-year-old, and he is the son of legendary Breeders' Cup winner Arrogant. And we had some narrative street on Arrogant in the profile video, so go check that out. His impressive victory in the Travers at Saratoga on August 25th or 26th catapulted him to the top of the rankings, the position he held for an impressive 7 weeks. So Archangelo went 7 weeks. He got 312 votes and secured 23 first place votes. So that's who we got. And if you want to take a look at the results and whatnot, it was first at the Travers, first at the Belmont. The Peter Pan was definitely the first one that we stood up and took notice. And I believe that this one was the Affirmed, where he come off the break. So probably going to be your number one with a bullet right now. I got no arguments here. Archangelo, number one. So next up, I believe we're going to go with Pin Oak Studs. Go Rocket Ride, the victor in the Haskell Stakes, runner-up in the Pacific Classic at Del Mar. Go Rocket Ride claimed the second spot with 261 votes. Just a solid all-around horse. Got a late start, late bloomer. Go check out the profile. That has got a lot of good stuff. And you can see Go Rocket Ride's brief career, actually. Got off to a bit of a slow start, but came through in a big way, winning the Affirmed and then going to the Haskell, winning that, and running second in the Pack Classic. The third place horse, Arabian Night. Now we get, Go Rocket Ride. I don't know if I can argue or not. I could probably pick out, White Abario. Obviously, if it comes to mind, I'd put ahead of both of these guys. So Arabian Night comes in third, and his results pretty solid. The winner of the Pack Classic, and it's, I think, maybe some recency bias, and the latest win probably vaulted Arabian Night way up. But third place win in the Haskell was also solid. Zenden Racing Stables, Arabian Night had 245 total votes. So obviously these young guns, the 3-year-olds, are making a big impact in this year's Breeder Cup Classic. So as we get closer to the race, you got to wonder if somebody like White Abario is going to say, wait a minute, don't be dismissing me. Look how pretty the gray is. I love the grays. So White Abario finally got his groove on here recently by winning the Whitney. And he had been knocking on the door, third in the Metropolitan Handicap, which is a mile, finished behind Cody's Wish. Got a first place finish in this allowance race, I believe, but really bad start to the 4-year-old season for White Abario, but did pretty decently leading up to the Kentucky Derby. Won the Holy Bull and the Florida Derby back to back, and then just faltered, and I guess just really hit the snide here at the Kentucky Derby in 2022. Did come up with the second place in the Ohio Derby, but that was behind a horse like Tawnyport. So not the strongest Ohio Derby ever there. 7th in the Haskell, 5th in the Penn Derby, 3rd in the Cigar Mile. So, mediocre at best 3-year-old season. So he needed to get going, and I think this win here kick-started him in March, and then was able to finish 3rd, like I said, and then won the Whitney. So he is one. The resume, I understand why he's 4th, but the resume is pretty solid. The Whitney is a monster win. So, it is what it is. Now, let's see, where are we? I lost my place. Sorry about that. The 5th spot is 4-year-old Xander, who conquered the Woodward at Aqueduct. And Xander got 136 votes. Xander is just a model of consistency as we look at the results here. First in this Woodward most recently, and that was just October 1st, a couple of weeks ago. So that's pretty much what led Xander into this top 5 category. But a second place right behind White Abario in the Whitney. And then you'll see a second right behind Cody's Wish, second in Westchester. So, and this goes back to the 3-year-old season, second in Penn Derby, 3rd. So a contender almost every single time out ran 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, won the Toyota Bluegrass. So that was the last grade 1 stakes win right there. So this one it's got probably a little something to prove, but well-deserved of a high ranking. And so let's see, we got 6th place coming in, Repole Stables and St. Elias Stables, 4-year-old Bright Future, won this Jockey Club Gold Cup most recently, kind of a late bloomer in his own right. Bright Future's got 116 votes, but this was a really good, go check out. I got a dual video because he's trained by Todd Pletcher. I went with Forte and Bright Future together in a profile. So you'll see all you need to see in that video. So check that out. Back-to-back wins. 8th place in the Brooklyn wasn't very, very good. This is where I wasn't quite sure, because things look pretty good here. The win in the 3rd, and then this 8th. And I believe that was like the first stakes. I want to say the first stakes splash for Bright Future. So it didn't really look promising. Grade 2 Brooklyn, but ran 8th. But then just did come out after that and win a race, and then came up and won this grade 1 Jockey Club. So this one is going to have some unknowns to it, I guess. But you talk about unknowns. Our next one up, Ushba Tesoro, the Japanese shipper. And I do have a profile on this one, which is quite interesting. If you do not know the horse Ushba Tesoro, I believe I finished off that video saying we needed to see what would happen with it September 27 at this Nippon TV high over in Japan. Anyone. So back-to-back wins, won this big Dubai World Cup. 3 straight wins, 4 straight wins, 5 straight, 6 straight. Going back to Brazil Cup. This, if the Japanese connections were ever to ship over a horse to win, I mean, Dermot Sotogake got a lot of pub, finishing pretty well in the Kentucky Derby, but this one seems to be a really, really strong one. Rose from 11th place to 7th with 103 votes, winning that race. I don't know if you want to call it. It's not a graded stakes, but it was a stakes race, and I believe there was a couple of other competitions in there, including one Dermot Sotogake. Now, next up, Proxy. And Proxy is a 5-year-old runner-up in the Jockey Club Gold Cup most recently. I have a profile on this one. Go check it out. Secured to 8th spot, 101 votes. FMQ Stables 3-year-old Saudi Crown will be next. But not much to say about Proxy. Been around a long time. Won the Monmouth Cup. Stephen Foster, not a very good race. Proxy has had an up and down career, has won some really, really big ones, but has blown it in some other races, you know, like the 5th in the Pegasus World Cup here, won the Clark Handicap. Stephen Foster, blame, probably should have won at least one of these races coming in. But a solid horse, but maybe just, I wouldn't say long in the tooth, but could be a sleeper. So we'll keep the Jockey Club Gold Cup runner-up Proxy in our rear view. Saudi Crown comes in next. FMQ Stable Saudi Crown, 3-year-old winner of the Pennsylvania Derby, going wire to wire, 9th place. Saudi Crown came on late in the probably midsummer, I guess, right around, I believe the Dwyer was probably the first. I remember going back and looking, but if you want to see past performances, races and whatnot, check out that Saudi Crown profile Contenders series. So 2nd in the Dwyer, 2nd in the Jim Dandy. This was the one where he got beat by a nose hair by Forte in the slop, where Forte was just rubbing elbows with Angel of Empire, and Saudi Crown probably should have won that race, but it led me to believe that he was far and above the Parks Racing Pennsylvania Derby champion. So I won a little money on that one, not ashamed to say. But Saudi Crown coming in 9th, rounding out the top 10. Repo Stables Forte, the winner of the Jim Dandy and the 2-year-old champion, kind of fell off a little bit. And obviously, I've documented this in other videos. After winning this come from behind over Mage win in the Florida Derby, had to skip the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness due to, I believe, a hoof crack. And came back in the Belmont, ran a solid, strong 2nd, then won the Jim Dandy. So everything was looking, aces, but then came up with a disappointing 4th in the Travers. So I still think Forte is a very, very strong horse, and a closer, and will probably be just fine on the surface at Santa Anita. So I wouldn't quite dismiss this horse. Like I said, if we needed to start rearranging anything, we should do that. These rankings aren't the end all be all, obviously, but an honorable mention is the horse that I just did a profile on, Mage. I think if you watch that profile video, you will hear some tidbits along the way there that will show you why this horse should not be dismissed. because it had, I mean, if you go back all the way here to Fountain of Youth, this is the beginning of the 3-year-old trek, unraced at 2, obviously, won at first asking, 4th in the Fountain of Youth, 2nd to Forte in that Florida Derby, wins the Kentucky Derby, and then a solid 3rd place trailing National Treasure. Let National Treasure get out to an early lead and set a slower pace, so it was tougher to catch down the stretch. Then came in 2nd again in the Haskell. So things were looking just fine leading up into the Travers. But the problem with the Travers was, and you can go check out the video, but I will tell you, it got pinched coming out of the gate early, then got pushed back to 7th place, was not able to fire since then. In addition to that, the Hall of Famer Javier Castellano switched over to Archangelo for the Travers, and then that left Luis Saez back on our boy Mage here. And Luis Saez did ride Mage so I was going to be fine with that. He did ride Mage to that 2nd place finish in the Florida Derby, but unfortunately, just prior to the race, he fell and broke his wrist and had to be replaced with Flavian Pratt. Connection said the jockey and horse just didn't quite mesh, and things didn't go very well in the Travers. So all that aside, Mage working hard, trying to get her done. So could be value coming into our next race. So if we were to rearrange these around, I mean, I still leave Archangelo number 1. Somewhere along these lines, it's really, really tough. But I'll go White Abario 2, then give me Go Rocket Ride. So I would move White Abario up to 2nd place. And then I would put Mage in. Actually, I would move everybody back from Bright Future on back. And I would put Mage probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 right there with Zandon. And I would maybe, if I was going to move anybody out, I don't know. I got to leave Ushpa Tesoro in just because of the record alone. But you could drop Ushpa down probably a couple of spots to 9th and move Saudi Crown. I'd move Saudi Crown ahead of Ushpa. Proxy could probably finish 10th. And I think Forte is way better than 10th. So I probably would move Forte up maybe in the top 5, somewhere in that range. It's not a set in stone thing. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna cut it there. I'll have more updates to come, and hopefully we can shake things out a little bit more as we get closer, and also be on the lookout for other Breeders' Cup updates, because I'm going to start digging into the turf races and the sprints and the distaffs and all that kind of good stuff. So plenty of content coming. Be on the lookout. See you soon.